Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello everybody. My dear students at Damietta University Faculty of Commerce English program. This is our course Production and Operations Management for the second grade, and this is 7th week, 24th of March 2020. And in this lecture we are going to start the third topic in our course. As you remember from the previous lectures, the first one was productivity and an introduction to study production and operations management. The second one was forecasting demand. So, the third topic at our course is location strategies. The third topic in our course is location strategies. How to choose ideal location for your business. So, the main question that we are going to answer in this chapter, how to choose ideal location for your business. How to choose the optimal location for your project. So, outline. As you remember, at the beginning of each chapter, the authors try to give us an example of a global company to benefit from its experience. As you remember, at the first chapter, it was Hard Rock Cafe. At the second one, it was Walt Disney Company. And this chapter is FedEx Company. So, global company profile FedEx Company. And in the chapter, we will learn the strategic importance of location, factors that affect location decisions, methods of evaluating location alternatives, service location strategy, geographic information systems GIS that can be used in location determination nowadays. The learning objectives for this chapter. When you complete this chapter, you should be able to 1. Identify and explain 7 major factors that affect location decisions. 2. Apply the factor rating method. 3. Complete a locational break-even analysis graphically and mathematically. 4. Use the center of gravity method. 5. Understand the differences between service and industrial sector location analysis. Location provides competitive advantage for FedEx. So, how was FedEx able to achieve this competitive advantage? FedEx applied and approved the concept of central hub. By using central hub concept, FedEx was able to achieve many developments. Enabled service to more locations with fewer aircraft. Enables matching of aircraft flights with package loads. Reduces mishandling and delay in transit because there is total control of packages from pickup to delivery. So, our main objective from studying this chapter to learn you how you be able to determine the central hub, the optimal location for your business. The strategic importance of location, one of the most important decisions a firm makes, increasingly global in nature, significant impact on fixed and variable costs, decisions made relatively infrequently, long-term decisions. Once committed to allocation, many resources and cost issues are difficult to change. The objective of location strategy is to maximize the benefit of location to the firm. So, after studying this chapter, you will be able to decide about it. The studying of this topic, location strategies, can help you in these options. First, you may decide to expanding existing facilities, or two, you may decide to maintain existing facilities and add another site or other sites. Third, you may decide to close the existing facilities and relocating in another facility or other facilities. Location and costs. The relationship between location determination and the costs. It's worthy note that location decisions based on low cost require careful consideration because not every decision based on low cost will be the optimal decision. So, the location decisions based on low cost require careful consideration because it may cause many problems for you in the future. Once in place, location-related costs are fixed in place and difficult to reduce. Determining optimal facility location is a good investment for you. Factors that affect location decisions. Indeed, the globalization topic adds to complexity. Already this topic is complicated, not easy. But it's not impossible. And the globalization adds to complexity because market economics, better international communications, rapid and reliable transportation, ease of capital flows between countries, the high differences in labor costs between the countries and different sites. There is one approach to selecting the optimal location and is called identify key success factors. So, one approach to selecting the optimal location is identify key success factors. And the abbreviation is KSFs. So, how could you identify the key success factors? Key success factors عوامل النجاح الحرجة لأي مشروع. How could you identify the key success factors? العوامل اللي ممكن تنجح المشروع بتاعك وتخليك تفضل موقع على موقع آخر. How could you identify the key success factors or the KSFs? So, at the country level, when you take location decisions on the country level, suppose that you try to think about opening a new business and you have to choose between many countries. For example, you have to choose between Canada, United States, and Mexico. So, the key success factors you should consider are: 1. Political risks, government rules, government attitudes, and government incentives. 2. Cultural and economic issues. 3. Location of the markets. 4. Labor talent, attitudes, productivity, and costs, of course, of the labor. Availability of supplies, communications, and the availability of energy. 6. Exchange rates and currency risks. And suppose you have chosen the United States to open your new business. Indeed, there is a global competitiveness index of countries that you can the Global Competitiveness Index of countries that you can use to decide about countries, which country you have to choose to open your business. So, competitiveness of 142 selected countries, you'll find here countries, and ranking was at 2011-2012. So you can find the updated one on the internet. For example, you can find Switzerland the first, Singapore second, Sweden third, and so on. At the end of this index, you'll find Haiti 141, Chad 142. Region community level location decisions. So, taking the location decisions at the region community level, we suppose that we have chosen the United States to open our new business. So, I will open my new business at the United States, but at which state? At which region? You know that the United States has 50 states. So, at which one I will open my new project? There are some key success factors, key SFs, at the country community level that you have to take into consideration. 1. Corporate desires. 2. Attractiveness of region. 3. Labor availability and costs. 4. Costs and availability of utilities like electricity, water, and infrastructure. 5. Environmental regulations and limitations. 6. Government incentives and fiscal policies. And you will find here government incentives and fiscal policies like at the country level. Because here we talk about the United States. And you may find some differences, you may find some variations between the states. So, 7. Proximity to raw materials and customers. 8. Land construction costs, the costs of land and construction. And suppose here that we have chosen the state of Indiana. We have chosen the United States, and then we have chosen the Indiana state to open our business. Site level location decisions. So, taking the location decision at the site level, we supposed that we have chosen already the United States to open our new business, and we have chosen the Indiana state to open the new business. And also we have chosen the Indianapolis, the capital of Indianapolis city, the capital of Indiana state, to open our new business. But at which site you will open your business in Indianapolis? Do you will choose site 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? So there are some key success factors you have to take into consideration to choose the optimal site at the site level. 1. Site size and cost. 2. Air, rail, highway, and waterway systems. 3. Zoning restrictions and limitations. 4. Proximity of services, supplies needed. 5. Environmental impact issues. So, there are the key success factors that you have to take, to study, in order to choose the optimal location at the site level in the Indianapolis city. Factors that affect location decisions. Besides the globalization, number of other factors affect the location decision, such as 1. Labor productivity. The labor productivity is the first one. Wage rates are not the only cost related to labor. Lower productivity may increase total cost. For example, labor cost will equal labor cost per day divided by units per day, equal cost per unit. So, to determine, to specify the labor cost, we will use this equation, labor cost per day divided by units per day. So I can calculate the cost per unit. Suppose you choose between South Carolina and Mexico. You will find here that although the labor cost per day is higher in South Carolina than in Mexico, here in South Carolina is $70 a day. In Mexico, $25 a day per worker. But after calculating the cost per unit, you will find that the cost per unit is lower in South California than Mexico. So, for me, I will prefer South Carolina than Mexico, although the labor cost per day in Mexico lower than South Carolina. And this is because the productivity, this is because the cost per unit. Exchange rates and currency risks. Exchange rates and currency risks can have significant impact on costs. The problem here that is these rates change over time. 3. Costs. Costs can be classified into two categories: tangible costs and intangible costs. The tangible costs easily measured costs such as utilities, labor, materials, and taxes. Intangible costs less easy to quantify and include education, public transportation, community. In general, this is the quality of life. And this is very important notes, as we said before. Note that location decisions based on costs alone can create problems in the future, and can create difficult ethical situations for your peasants. Political risk, values, and culture. The political risk and the values of the society and the culture of this society, national, state, local governments' attitudes toward private and intellectual property, zoning, pollution, employment stability may be influx. ممكن يكون مش ثابت. May be influx, غير ثابت أو غير مستقر. Worker attitudes towards turnover, unions, absenteeism. Globally, cultures have different attitudes towards punctuality, legal and ethical issues. Punctuality المقصود بها هنا discipline، الانتظام، الاكيوريسي، الدقة اللي الناس بتتحلى بيها في مجتمع معين. So, this is the ranking of corruption according to the World Organization of Transparency. You can find this ranking of corruption over the world, and this ranking is or was at 2012. So at the beginning you will find Denmark, Finland, and New Zealand. At the last, you will find Russia. Here, least corrupt, and here the most corrupt countries. So you can take a decision about this political risk and the corruption based on this ranking of corruption according to the World Organization of Transparency. 5. Proximity to markets, very important to services. Proximity to markets, القرب من الأسواق, very important to services. Jet systems, just-in-time systems or high transportation costs may make it important to manufacturers. Number 6, proximity to suppliers, perishable goods, high transportation costs, bulky products. perishable goods السلع اللي بتتلف بسرعة. high transportation costs, bulky products تكاليف النقل العالية. المنتجات الضخمة دي بتحتاج ان انت تكون قريب من بتحتاج إن أنت تكون قريب من المنافسين بتوعك. 7. Proximity to competitors, clustering, often driven by resources such as natural information, capital, talent, found in both manufacturing and service industries. And here is an example of the clustering of companies. Industry, location, reason for clustering. Industry software firms, clean energy, electronics firms, computer and hardware manufacturers. Location, software firms, you can find these firms in the Silicon Valley, Boston, Bangalore, India. And reason for clustering, talent resources of bright graduates in scientific, technical areas, venture capitalists nearby. Clean energy, you can find this industry in Colorado. Reason for clustering, critical mass of talent and information with 1,000 companies. Electronics firms, you can find these firms in northern Mexico. Reason for clustering, NAFTA, duty-free export to US. Industry of computer and hardware manufacturers, you can find these industries in Singapore and Taiwan. Reason for clustering, a high technological penetration rate and per capita GDP, also high. Skilled, educated workforce with large pool of engineers. So, in this point, you may be forced to open your business beside your competitors. For example, if you decide to invest in touristic village, you will go beside your competitors. For example, in Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, in Sokhna, in North Coast. Another point, that the competitors may be choosing these locations based on hard study. So you may benefit from their decisions. The service location strategy. Service location strategy may differ from the manufacturing location strategy. Service location strategy consider many factors, and these factors can add it to the previous factors. For example, 1. Purchasing power of customer drawing area. 2. Service and image compatibility with demographics of the customer drawing area. 3. Competition in the area. 4. Quality of the competition. 5. Uniqueness of the firms and the competitors' locations. 6. Physical qualities of facilities and neighboring businesses. 7. Operating policies of the firm. 8. Quality of the management. Location strategies, goods versus services. Location strategies, goods versus services. The service, retail, professional, goods, producing. So service will focus on revenue, but the good industry or goods industry will focus on cost. Volume revenue, drawing area, purchasing power, competition, pricing, and advertising. So the service industry will consider these factors like drawing area, purchasing power, competition, pricing, and advertising. And will consider the physical quality like parking access, security, lighting, appearance, and the image. determinants. Cost determinants as the service industries will be rent, management uniqueness, operation policies like ours, like wage rates. So, the service industries will be concerned about these three factors: revenue, physical quality, cost determinants. The goods or manufacturing industries will be concerned about the cost because they are cost focused. The cost will consist tangible costs and intangible and future costs. Tangible costs like transportation costs of raw materials, shipment cost of finished goods, energy cost, utility cost, labor cost, raw material cost, taxes, and so on. Intangible and future costs like attitude toward union, quality of life, education, expenditures by the state, quality of state and local government. And there are the techniques that can be used to choose the optimal location in the service industries and in the goods or manufacturing industries. As a service, we can use regression models to determine importance of various factors, factor rating method, traffic counts, demographic analysis of drawing area, parsing power analysis of the area, center of gravity method, geographic information systems GIS. As the goods industries, we can use the factor rating method, Prekevian analysis, crossover charts, transportation method. في صناعة الخدمات ممكن نستخدم نماذج الانحدار علشان نحدد أهم العوامل اللي على أساسها ممكن نختار المشروع. ممكن نستخدم طريقة وزن العوامل أو ترجيح العوامل أو اسمها طريقة العوامل المرجحة whatever. Traffic counts ممكن نستخدم traffic counts اللي هو تحديد الأماكن اللي بيتواجد فيها المستهلكين بشكل كبير. Demographic analysis of drawing area تعمل دراسة ديموغرافية للمكان. For example لو حضرتك بتقدم خدمة للأطفال سي إن حضرتك تفتح مدينة ملاهي، يبقى حضرتك أكيد مدينة الملاهي لما تفتحها في مكان أكيد حضرتك محتاج مكان يكون فيه kids كتير. دي demographic analysis of drawing area. Parsing power analysis of the area يعني تحديد القوة الشرائية للمكان اللي هتفتح فيه الخدمة. مش معقول تفتح private school أو language school في مكان الناس مش هتقدر تستخدم السيرفيس دي. Center of gravity method طريقة مركز الثقل ودي هناخدها in details إن شاء الله. Geographic information systems ده هنتكلم عنها بشكل يعني in brief at the last of this part. هنا مفيش حاجة مختلفة خالص. Factor rating method طريقة العوامل المرجحة. Prekevian analysis تحليل التعادل. Crossover charts وده نفس الكلام زي بالظبط زي Prekevian analysis as we will know later. Transportation method اللي هي طريقة النقل. Assumptions at the service industries service sector and assumptions in the goods sector. Assumptions: location is a major determinant of revenue. High customer contact issues are critical. Costs are relatively constant for a given area, so the revenue function will be very critical for service industries. Assumptions: location is a major determinant of cost. Most major costs can be identified explicitly for each site. Low customer contact allows focus on the identifiable costs. Intangible costs can be evaluated. How hotel chains select sites. Location is a strategically important decision in the hospitality industry. It's a very important decision in the service industry overall and in the hospitality industry specifically. La Quinta started with 35 independent variables and refined a regression model to predict profitability. The final model had only 4 variables: price of the inn, median income levels, state population per inn, location of nearby colleges. So, La Quinta for ends and suites prepared a regression model and started with 35 independent variables and refined this regression model and reached to 4 important factors can be used to predict the profitability. So, R square of these variables as the regression model 0.51. So 51% of the profitability is predicted by just these 4 variables. يبقى لما نرجع هنا للتكنيكس that can be used in service industry هنلاقي regression models نماذج الانحدار. القصة سهلة بسيطة جدا خالص. عرفنا ان في حاجة اسمها key success factors. شركة زي شركة لا كوينتا حددت لنفسها الكي سكسس فاكتورز. بدأت تستخدم الريجريشن موديل وتحدد العوامل اللي ممكن الأساسية الاسينشالز that can be used to predict profitability. قدرت انها توصل ل4 عوامل رئيسية. ال4 عوامل الرئيسيين دول بيحددوا 51% of the profitability من الربحية الخاصة بشركة لا كوينتا. Methods of evaluating location alternatives. هنا هنتعلم مجموعة من methods that can be used to evaluate the location alternatives. 1. Factor rating method. 2. Locational break-even cost volume analysis. 3. Center of gravity method. 4. Transportation model. 5. Geographic information systems GIS. The factor rating method is popular method because a wide variety of factors can be included in the analysis. There are 6 steps in the method. 1. Develop a list of relevant factors called key success factors as we learn it. 2. Assign a weight to each factor. 3. Develop a scale for each factor. 4. Score each location for each factor. 5. Multiply score by weights for each factor for each location. 6. Make a recommendation based on the highest point score. So let's try to start with an example to make this idea more clear. This is an example for the factor rating method. 5 Flags Over Florida, a U.S. chain of 10 family-oriented theme parks, intends to expand overseas by opening in Europe. France and Denmark are 2 potential locations. The ratings below show a list of critical success factors that management has decided are important. The weightings and rating for 2 sites are also shown below. Which location appears to be better for the 5 Flags Over Florida company? So, in this table you will find weights and scores. There are the key success factors chosen or determined by the management that they are very important. Key SFs: labor, people to car ratio, per capita income, tax structure, education, and health. Weights, as you can see. Scores out of 100 for France and Denmark. So, how can we choose the best location using the factor rating method? The factor rating example, in this table you will find weights, scores, and solution. Weights, scores, and solution. At the beginning of this, at the beginning of this table, at the left you will find key SFs: labor availability and attitude, people to car ratio, per capita income, tax structure, education, and health. And at the end of this table you find the total. There are the weights and you have to note them. The weights must equal to 1. And there are the scores out of 100 for both sites, for both locations, France and Denmark. So, there is the weighted score for France and weighted score for Denmark. To get these weighted scores for the two locations, you have to multiply the weight of the factor by the score determined for the location. So, for France, for example, we'll multiply 0.25 by the 70. For Denmark, we will multiply 0.25 by the 60, and so on. For people-to-car ratio, for France, we will multiply the weight 0.05 by the score for France 50. For Denmark, we will multiply the weight for this factor 0.05 by the 60 for the Denmark. And at the end, we will get the weighted score for France. It will be 70.4. And the weighted score for Denmark, it will be 68, just 68. So, in this case, the France location will be the adequate, the appropriate location for opening the new site for the 5 flags over Florida in Europe. So, the France will be preferred than Denmark in this case because the total weighted score for France is higher than the total weighted score for Denmark. The second method can be used to determine the best location, the optimal location, is location break-even analysis. And I think that we can start from this slide at the coming lecture, inshallah. And the hope is going well with you, and there is a request and advice for all of my dear students. You know that we are nowadays in a crisis since WHO announced that the coronavirus is pandemic. So you have to follow instructions to save your life and to save the life of all your loved ones, inshallah. See you on the best.